Good afternoon and welcome to the Chief Citywide PIP meeting that's live streamed. My name is Officer James Sabota. I'm the Citywide PIP coordinator, and we'd like to welcome everybody and thank you for signing on for the live stream PIP meeting. Our Citywide PIP program has really grown in the last couple of years, and we're getting a lot of people to take interest in getting involved. Many of our members are made up of neighborhood stakeholders just like you, and also civic members, church members, and also members of our deaf and hard of hearing group. So we'd like to welcome you all again tonight. Our mission is to interact with each other in a positive, productive relationship. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Joan Bouchard, who is our Citywide chairperson. Thank you. Joan, you have the floor.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is the Chief Citywide PIP program, and we'd like to thank all of you of Citywide and Divisional PIP members who have logged on today to be with us and watch the Citywide meeting from your communities. This is live streamed. Some of the nation's police departments have been in the news recently. In Houston, we can proudly stand up and proclaim that we offer and have the Positive Interaction Program, PIP, in place to promote a positive relationship with every member of the community. You and your community can take credit for the PIP program's success. At these PIP meetings, the goal is to provide attending members information which can benefit when you take it back to your community. I would like to ask Officer Chaplain Vince Ryan, to join us for the invocation. Chaplain?
Thank you, Joan. Hello, citizens of Houston, family and friends. I'm Chaplain Vince Johnson of the Houston Police Department. As you all know, we had a line of duty death in the city of Houston, Officer Jason Knox. So as I go into prayer, I'm gonna ask that you pray with me and that we keep his parents in our prayers, Councilmember Mike Knox, Jason's mother, Helen, his wife, Kira, and his children, Cooper and Eliza. So would you please pray with me? Our Father and our God, we thank you for another day. We thank you for allowing us as your children to function and to have health and strength. We ask that you continue to watch over the city of Houston while we still battle the pandemic of COVID. We ask that you allow healing to take place across this city and across the nation. And we ask that you continue to watch over the first responders, the Houston Police Department, the Houston Fire Department, and all those who are on the front lines, all the nurses and all the doctors and all those in the healthcare industry. We ask a special blessing for this evening's program. We ask that something be done or said to encourage, to educate, and also to inspire. We thank you for the relationship that we have with the community, and we thank you for this partnership that we have with the citizens of Houston. And we thank you for allowing us to exercise the idea of community policing, because the police are the community, and the community are the police. We thank you, Master. This is our prayer. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Many communities have discovered this PIP program and have contacted us wanting to know how to get involved. In addition, many police departments nationally have contacted us, and they also want to know how we got our success and the model of this very, very similar program can be done in their city. Our success has been expressed by the following statement. Quote, "We are a dedicated group of citizens and business owners working together with a very dedicated chief and command staff, interacting together to reduce crime. And we would like to thank all of you for your participation to gain growth and the recognition from other cities and police departments." I now would like to introduce you to Assistant Chief Cheryl Victorian. Chief?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Cheryl Victorian. I'm the Assistant Chief of Patrol Region 2 Command. On behalf of Chief Acevedo and the men and women of the Houston Police Department, we'd like to say welcome to this month's Positive Interaction Program meeting. As the chaplain said, we would ask that you would please continue to keep the family of Tactical Flight Officer Jason Knox in your prayers. We were very, very grateful to have the opportunity to bestow the honors upon him that he so deserved during his time at this department. So please, please continue to keep that family in your prayers as they grieve the loss of their dad, their husband, their son. We also ask that you would continue to keep in your prayers the pilot from that tragic helicopter crash, Senior Police Officer Chase Comier. He's not just recovering from his injuries, he's also grieving his partner and his friend. So please keep that family in your prayers. Please know that the Houston Police Department has started an exhaustive investigation. It's a multidisciplinary, multi-agency investigation. It's going to take some time for us to complete, so please exercise patience as we all seek answers to this tragic incident. As it relates to COVID-19, we have a little bit of good news for the Houston Police Department. We had 202 people tested for the COVID-19. We had 46 that tested positive, 44 of those classified officers, 2 support personnel. And what is of note is that 36 of those who have tested positive have already returned to work. So we're very, very grateful for that. We ask that you please continue to keep the family of Officer Cervantes, who was one of the first to test positive for this pandemic, for this disease. He's still in the hospital recovering, but please keep him in your prayers. And I want to just close by saying that I appreciate you guys being very flexible and allowing this opportunity for us to connect with you virtually. And I also appreciate your continued engagement in our PIP meetings. And we hope that this information that we provide every other month will increase your awareness as citizens and also better equip you as community partners. Again, welcome, stay healthy, be well, and enjoy this month's presentation.
As an informative addition to the Citywide PIP meetings, we have the department's Crime Analysis Division. They are prepared to provide the Citywide Crime Analysis Report to our members. This evening, Commander Zira will provide us with this report. Commander?
Thank you, Joan, and good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us this evening. I get the pleasure of reviewing some of the crime statistics with you, and before I get started, I want to take a few minutes to go over some of the caveats regarding the crime statistics. First, the numbers that you're going to be seeing are not the official numbers of the Houston Police Department. These are reported incidents. They're not fully investigated or fully vetted criminal acts yet. If you want to see the official crime statistics, please visit the Houston Police Department webpage. Second, the numbers I'm going to be showing you are incident-based. So one incident may have several crimes. So what you're seeing is a counting of the highest crime for any singular incident. The exception to the incidents is going to be the numbers that you're going to see for murders. Murders will reflect the actual number of victims this year and last year. All right, so let's get started. So here is the year-to-date data for our key performance indicators, or KPI. And the best way I think to think of the KPI is kind of like the Dow Jones. It's reflective of all crimes, but it doesn't account for all crimes. So in the percent change column on the end, you can see that red indicates a crime that has gone up since last year, and green reflects a crime category that has gone down since last year. So from here, you can see that violent crime has increased approximately 10% compared to last year, and nonviolent crime is down 4.3% compared to last year. Addressing some of the specific crimes, you can see that murder is up by half compared to last year. And you've likely heard the chief speak about this, speaking to the increased violence associated with the drug trade. And he's addressed this issue already. Also up compared to last year is aggravated assaults, up over 23%. And what we're seeing here is that about 50% of these incidents are domestic violence related. And we've held our meetings to address that as an organization. On the positive note, sexual assaults are down nearly 33%. If we move over to the property side of the equation, we can see that auto thefts and burglary of buildings are both up, 9.1 and 7.2% respectively. However, burglary of a habitation and frauds are down quite significantly at 21 and 34% respectively. So those were the year-to-date stats. And now I want to kind of juxtapose what's occurred since the implementation of COVID-19 restrictions. So the numbers that you're seeing here are reflective of the last 8 weeks, ever since, it's been 8 weeks since the COVID restrictions were put in place. And so you can see here that both crimes against person and crimes against property are down compared to the non-COVID timeframe. And so it's pretty easy to see that COVID's had a very negative impact on society in many ways. But when it comes to crime, and particularly property crime, we can see that it's actually having a positive impact on crime. Here we're going to look at, since COVID restrictions were enacted, is that we do have some challenges. Murders and aggravated assaults are up. For the most part, we're headed in the right direction. So that's all I have tonight regarding the crime stats. I want to remind everybody that if you want to know what's being reported as criminal activity in your neighborhood, you can go to www.crimereports.com and you can get detailed information regarding crime that's reported in your area. And so, Joan, that's all I have. I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our program this evening is from the Victim Services Division. And this presentation is the Domestic Abuse Response Team, and we have Lieutenant Julie Pleasant doing the presentation. Okay. Yeah.
Hi, thank you, Joan. Just a little bit about me before we dive into the D.A.R.T program. I am a 23-year veteran with the Houston Police Department, and I've been over the Victim Services Unit for 3 years now. So a little bit about this pilot program. We started it in partnership with the Harris County District Attorney's Office, and the overall mission of the program for the Domestic Abuse Response Team is a mobile intervention model for high-risk domestic victims that ensures victim safety. It ensures victim safety, facilitates enhanced offender accountability, and inspires victim trust in the criminal justice system. So all of those things are an on-scene response, whereas typically who's going to respond is just going to be the patrol officer. This is kind of a multidisciplinary response, making everybody able to touch that victim on scene. And this is kind of how that works. So you start with law enforcement, and law enforcement now will be responding with a victim advocate who is a counselor, and they provide services, immediate crisis response to whatever crime, in this case domestic violence, they have been a victim of. Second, we have the Texas Forensic Nurse Examiners as a partner, so they provide free forensic exams. which is wonderful because that evidence is then kept in their evidentiary custody so that they can be called to court for prosecution, which keeps a little bit of the burden off of the victim and now onto the system itself. The other is we have tenured Harris County District Attorney's Office Domestic Violence Trial Bureau attorneys standing by to accept charges from HPD officers from D.A.R.T scenes. So what that means is we're calling a special division for family violence that focuses on that specific crime, and they are able to articulate what evidence needs to be captured and documented so that they and we have a stronger case when it comes to trial. So that's fantastic when it comes to trying those cases in court for the DA's office. And then we also have our community partners, which is the Houston Area Women's Center and the Bridge, and they are always on standby to help us provide shelter, clothing, long-term counseling, skills training. They're just fabulous partners, and they really help us with anything and everything we need when we're in that on-scene crisis response mode. D.A.R.T operations, we began as a pilot program in January of 2019. We operate 3 nights a week, the highest statistical domestic violence nights, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 8-hour shifts, and that is from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m., and that's mostly in Region 1. So those of you that are familiar with your divisions out there, that's going to be Northeast, North Belt, and North Patrol. We are out there during that time, and officers obviously engage with the victim and survivor with that trauma-informed, victim-centered approach when we also have that crisis response with victim advocates. So they can attend to all the needs of that victim while the officers in patrol are attending to everything the case needs with regard to the suspect and accountability and evidence control and that type of thing. But you actually have someone there that is 100% focused on the victim and meeting the needs that when you do that immediate needs assessment, get all of that taken care of so they're not having to do that on their own as well. Okay, I have a quick little video that kind of shows you D.A.R.T in action. So we're gonna get that queued up. Here we go.
When we go on domestic violence scenes, we know that they are the most dangerous and most volatile scenes for law enforcement because they are so emotional and so traumatizing.
These are the kinds of calls that can be the most deadly to law enforcement, the domestic violence calls. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what you're rolling into on that scene.
When it's a very legitimate case of family violence, these people don't tend to have a lot of contact with law enforcement. So when they're first introduced to a law enforcement scene where we're asking them questions and we're looking to charge their loved one with a crime, they're not necessarily very open to speaking with us.
We take care of the law enforcement side. Let us do the arrest, let us do the report, let us do the charges, let us talk to the DA. But once we leave that scene, nobody has really addressed those physical, financial, emotional needs of that victim when their world just got turned upside down.
So through the domestic abuse response team, D.A.R.T, what we're able to do is from the first touch of that victim through law enforcement.
We have an advocate who is able to talk to you about resources.
Through an advocate, through specialized prosecutors who take those phone calls immediately, we're able to instill and ensure that the victim is safe. We're also able to document information that we've never been able to get from the get-go.
I've been on these calls where they weren't comfortable speaking with me, but once I get the victim's advocate involved, they'll open up and they'll start giving all their details and requesting the help they need. It seems to come a little easier to them from somebody who's outside of uniform.
They can tell them where the resources are, they can make the calls, they can get them housing, that's their world, and that's where they shine. So we don't want to have our law enforcement be social service providers. They have a role, but having that social service provider so you can tag team that scene and handle both aspects of it is a great and amazing kind of thing to see in progress.
The officer that I ride with makes sure that I'm safe, secures the scene, lets me know when it's safe to actually come out and speak to the victim.
A lot of times when we come out on the scene, it's chaotic, and we're really there to solve an immediate problem. But when you ride with an advocate, you go out with an advocate after either the suspect's been arrested or the originating officer's taking the information. And so now is the time that you can slow it down, and any questions that they have can be answered.
It's important for us to build the trust with the victim from the primary contact, from the first contact that is made, because it is such a difficult, dangerous time for the victim given what they're going through. So you have to understand that this isn't a normal crime. It's not like you're held up by a stranger, right? Or, someone assaults you at a bus stop. This is someone that you trust, that you love, and that makes it ever so complicated. You may have kids with them. You may be financially dependent upon them. You may be in a situation where without them, you don't eat, you don't get your medicine. You aren't able to live a life that is of any type of quality. So by ensuring their confidence in the system is to make sure from the primary contact that victim knows we're there from the beginning to the end.
If we can collect the evidence, if we can do a supported wraparound kind of services for that victim on scene, we can get them what they need right away, then we have a better chance of keeping that victim engaged with the criminal justice process long term. The second part of that is all the collaboration with all the other agencies, and that is the DA's office and social services and corrections and probation and parole, and it goes on and on and on.
So there's not one agency or one organization that can do this type of work alone, right? And so the Houston Police Department, if there was only the Houston Police Department, they would not be able to accomplish everything that needs to be accomplished, for that survivor who's coming forward. And so you need prosecution, you need community-based organizations such as the Houston Area Women's Center to be able to provide those wraparound services for that survivor as they move through, the system and navigate systems.
So that gives you kind of an overview on how D.A.R.T works on the daily basis when we operate. I want to thank our partners for helping make that video possible, and a big thanks to John Lindgren who put that video together for us. This is just a snapshot of what we did this quarter compared to last quarter, and you can see how the charges have gone up, as well as the D.A.R.T scenes from first quarter to second quarter. So the comparison is all on the rise. The next thing is a snapshot from this little segment of the year to all of last year. So anything we've gone through 2020 to current compared to all of last year's statistics. And you can see that our D.A.R.T charges are 433, and last year we had 221. So that is way up. Additionally, you can see that the comparison for all year last year was 332, and this year it's 239, but we have till October 31st for that to be complete. So we have 6 more months of stats to go before that's complete. This is just letting you know that D.A.R.T in action, that model that you saw, is about communication with the DA's office, our community-based partners, so that survivors can get access to all the resources that they're entitled to, and to do that safely. So that is our wrap up on D.A.R.T. This is the way to contact us. That is our website, and this is our main phone number. And then if you have any questions with regard to this, we probably won't have time to answer all of them, but if you will respond to your live chat box, We will have the subject matter expert, whether it's us or some division, come on, and that will give us time to get back to everybody. And if we don't have time, please submit your questions to the email at the bottom, victim.services@houstonpolice.org, and we will get back to you. That's monitored all the time, so we will get back to you with regard to whatever your inquiry is. Thank you.
Thank you. That was good. I don't need that. Thank you. I'm okay without that. Chief, yes? Okay. Chief Acevedo would like to say a few words. A few words.
All right. Thanks. Thank you, Joan. And for those that are watching and not used to our meetings, Joan says that to everybody. That's why we call her Judge Judy. She runs a tight ship. Thanks, everybody, for being here, staying late. And thank you to our sign language interpreters, ASL. Really appreciate you all for being here. But the two things I really want to bring up briefly, and that number one is our budget. We all saw it, the mayor today, Mayor Turner, with the COVID economic impact that our city's facing and cities across the nation and actually across the civilized world, that all of our academy classes as of right now are being canceled for next year. We want to have 5 classes, but unfortunately we are facing a budget deficit as a city that is unparalleled, unprecedented. We have not had a budget deficit of this extent in our history. And so here's what we need from the people of Houston. We need you to contact the White House, the administration with President Trump, and our political leaders in terms of our congressional leaders, and we need your help in convincing them of the truth. And the truth is that the COVID pandemic has really a 3-wave pandemic. First, a 3-tiered, let me change that. It's a 3-tiered threat. First, it's the public health threat that the pandemic poses to our health. Second, it's the economic threat and the damage that's done to our economy from the pandemic. And third, it's really the public safety, public security threat of the crime that's associated with the pandemic. And I'll give you an example of what's happening in our city. And then are they going to be able to ask me questions? Yes, they are. What's happened in our city is what we've seen is that our murders have really spiked, and we've seen that across the country in a lot of cities that violent crime is starting to creep up in terms of shootings for a myriad of reasons. But for us, what we're seeing anecdotally is that the drug supply in terms of the illicit narcotics have gotten really tight. So a big number of our murders and a big part of our spike in murders is really driven by drug ripoffs and people fighting over drugs and drug trafficking. And so as you can see, COVID is impacting public safety, and we need your help. Please contact, again, the administration with the Trump administration and congressional leaders, both in the Senate with Speaker Pelosi, in the House with Speaker Pelosi, and the Senate with Leader McConnell. It's really important, and for Texans, please contact Senator Cornyn and Senator Cruz and all of our members of the House out of our delegation here in Houston. So I want to thank the police officers that go out every day. Just last night, we saw that our officers in Midwest chased aggravated robber suspect that was wearing an ankle monitor and had a warrant for aggravated robbery. We're chasing the same criminals, so please contact the Harris County courts, felony courts, and let them know how you feel about violent criminals going in one door and out the other. And again, we promise to start letting you know which judge is doing what, because you need to know who's coddling the criminals and who's actually holding criminals accountable, especially violent ones. And so with that, please stay safe. Let's not wear these because it's required or not required. Let's wear these because the science says if we all do so, we protect one another and we maximize the potential for a successful reopening of our state and nation, which is what we all really want. So God bless you all. Be safe, and I'll open it to any questions. Any questions? Somebody's writing a question. I'm going to put my glasses on. Oh, yeah. I mean, the budget gap will be a huge impact on, I want you to think about 5 cadet classes. That's 350 positions, 350 police officers that we need to train to bring on. And we can't afford to not have 350 police officers come on board next year. While in the meantime, the officers that are retiring are not being replaced, and that's a huge problem. And think about this city. With 5,200 police officers, 677 square miles, contrast that to Chicago, for 248 square miles, just a few more residents, they have 12 to 13,000 police officers. So this is huge, and we really need our public partners, the community, to weigh in with the White House and with Congress. Anything else? You can just say it out loud.
How long does the police department plan on taking COVID-19 measures?
We are going to continue to follow the guidance of health authorities. Quite frankly, we have done really well as a police department. Over 60 police officers, probably pushing 70 police officers, have died from COVID-19 across the country. We still have one officer that's still fighting hard, and Ray Cervantes, one of our cold case homicide detectives. But because we started early, this is proof positive as a police department that if we use some common sense, we can protect one another. You know, we don't want to be a right to die state. We want to be a right to stay healthy state, and that's what we should be about. So we're going to continue with these masks until, I think, until we see that we have a vaccine. On the way here, I listened to some of the public health officials saying that they're starting to worry about some of the impact on young children, that we can't take it for granted. It doesn't just impact older people, but it can have a devastating impact on young children. We owe it to one another, and I think it's about common sense and decency, and ultimately about common courtesy. Just wear these masks, and don't forget that if you go into a restaurant or a supermarket or anywhere else, private property rights attach, and people can require that. Kind of like no shoes, no shirt, no service. Well, think about no shoes, no shirt, no mask, no service. But what we would use in that instance would be the criminal trespass, if that's what the folks desired. Okay? Anything else?
How much of an impact have the COVID measures been on the daily operations of HPD, especially in regards to our neighborhood policing?
Yeah, you know, we have approached this, and Mayor Turner's been real clear that we have approached our protective measures and the orders that had come down over the last few months as we're going to deal with it, right, with honey and sugar. And i.e., we're not out to be writing tickets and arresting people. We wanted to to educate the public, gain voluntary compliance, and I'm really proud of the fact that we've actually not arrested a single person in this city, and we actually have issued our officers different masks, the surgical masks. So when we've encountered individuals in public, we've actually, rather than writing them a ticket, in most instances we've given them a mask. So kindness has gone a long way, and that's what we plan on doing moving forward. Okay, everybody? God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you, Joan, for being the best. And all of you, thanks for being here. God bless you. Good night.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, my friend. Good to see you.
You too. On behalf of the Citywide Board, the divisional PIP officers, the entire command staff, we would like to say thank you to our PIP members who have been involved in their neighborhoods and the PIP program to carry out our goal, which is crime prevention. And yes, we can't forget this. If you have the time, get involved. If you don't have the time, you better make the time. It's your neighborhood and your city. But I would like to add one thing. During this time of CV-19, it is important that we need to stay in contact with each other. That is really crucial. And if you need any assistance, would you please let us know so that we can help you if you're in need. Take care, stay safe, And above all, please stay healthy. And before we finish, Officer Sabota has a few words.
Thank you, Joan. In closing, we would like to thank everybody that logged on to the Chief Citywide live stream meeting. We look forward to seeing all of you when this all ends at our fellowship meetings, but this is the way to go at this point. You know, this is a very diverse city, great city. I'm born and raised here, and there's just some wonderful folks in this city. Many are involved. You're all stakeholders. You're involved in your churches, in your community, and we really honor that. And we always look to speak to you in person, to speak to you over the phone. Call us up if you have any questions or issues. We always will address any of your questions. In closing, stay safe. Thank you very much for logging in.